any fire stuff. If there is a fire, get out as fast as you can that way. But apart from that, how are you going to listen today, particularly for this next thing? If you've got this inner voice saying, I know this stuff, or I've heard all this before, can I invite you to just switch that inner voice off and just hear this through the lens of, I wonder how this could be useful to you. I wonder how I could help you. So just try, this is interesting, rather than I've heard this before. Let's start with the BeCollaboration vision statement. We bring together talent, technical ability, and visionary thinking to empower individuals and organisations. We're passionate about impacting human performance at an individual, organisational and societal level. And we do this with velocity, compassion, humour, and yes, we have the L word in a business presentation. We do it with love. See, we're not really interested in you as Arthur the NLP or Jane teacher, Fiona the hypnotist, or hypnotherapist.
The hypnotist.
Whichever.
Yeah, no.
Good. You like hypnotists, do you?
I don't know what I know. There's no word for it.
Brilliant. License for it. Yeah, well, you can't use your normal word. Yeah, might do. The thing is, we're not really interested in what you do. We're interested in who you are, and more importantly, who you want to be. Who do you want to show up as in the world? Because this isn't a logical conversation. This is very definitely a heart conversation. It's about connecting the two sides of the brain, the logical left side and the less logical right side. Isn't that much easier, isn't it? And just figure out how do we do that to create more possibility in the world and for ourselves. And it's definitely about conversations coming from the heart, not from the head. We're not going to make some big sales pitch. It's not going to be, we've got the sign-up forms on the table here and you're not going to get out the door until you've had a conversation with one of the team. We're just going to share what BeCollaboration's about and then you choose whether that's something that is going to be fun for you, really. Something that you can contribute to, something that will contribute to you. So let's start with, where did BeCollaboration come from? Well, in the beginning, we had a Lone Ranger. Or if you like, I like the analogy. You've seen the YouTube?
The Dancing Man.
The Dancing Man. Mm-hmm. Exactly that, the lone nutter on the hillside.
Keep on dancing.
Keep on dancing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have our very own lone nut, Mr. O'Ganally, who happens to be in the room with us.
Different jumper today.
But he's always known something.
No horse.
He's always known things can be different. But he needed his first follower, co-founder Jill Tidy. They met up at an NLP training, and they suddenly realised that they were both trying to achieve the same sorts of things. There's two coaches out there, both doing their own marketing, both doing their own. They realised that together we can be a lot stronger than individuals trying to make it on our own. My story? How did I get involved with it? Well, my background is key account management for rapacious swine like those on the left-hand side, selling to equally rapacious swine like those on the right-hand side.
I used to work for that.
company did you work for?
Thank you.
You worked for BQ?
About 4 years, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow.
just there.
Okay, so you know how rapacious they can be.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of fun. I got quite good at it, actually. But there were a few changes hit me over the course of my career. The first one, that phone call from the B&Q buyer. Oops, sorry, we're going to get our sticky tape from somewhere else. 60% of my turnover gone overnight. So I picked myself up, dusted myself down. Off we went again.
Yes, you
It's just asking me to find it.
Yeah, no, that wasn't you, that was Phil Duttridge.
Oh, right.
You know Phil. He was very nice about it. He's a nice man. We crashed to supplier overnight decided, well, on Friday night, they decided that they wanted their $1.2 million back, please. And could they have it by Monday? So that business disappeared overnight. Picked myself up again. And fortunately this time I really did listen to my body, to my mind, because I was by the end not particularly well physically, and I'm pretty certain I wasn't well mentally as well by that point. But I managed to get myself paid off and got some redundancy. So off I went out into the real world to go and become a consultant all on my own. So I had a number of false starts. But eventually I figured out, okay, what I want to do out there is help people to find their joyful genius. I use these kind of tools and NLP to help people really find their joyful genius. That's my joyful genius. But it wasn't a simple journey. Any of you who've left corporate will know that what you thought was a network was actually a work net. And as soon as you don't have the title anymore, all those people you thought were in your network aren't anymore. They don't take your calls to go and have a coffee. They don't return your calls at all. And I started doing all sorts of networking. All sorts of networking where they told me that I was going to be networking with like-minded people. People like you. I'm not like other people. So most of the time it wasn't people like me at all. But it wasn't until I found BeCollaboration that I actually felt like I was networking with people who weren't just like-minded, but they were like-hearted. They actually did have the same way of being as me. I just felt like I'd come home. Suddenly, I really was with people who I wanted to be around. And I look forward to the BeCollaboration days, not just from a business perspective, but because it's where I get my support, it's where I nourish my soul, if you like, by being around the kind of people I meet in BeCollaboration. Which is why I'm so pleased to be part of bringing it into Surrey. So what's BeCollaboration set up to resolve? Well, the current paradigm out there in the world is that there's not enough. Yeah, it's like the musical chairs, and if you don't grab yours, you're going to run out. You've got to get your bit first before somebody else does. And that whole view that there's just not enough, that everything's running out, that there's, you know, if you can't get your bit, it's crazy. We've got a world where we can have free electricity if we really want it. And yet, we've got this peculiar setup where stuff that could be free is charged for and not needed charged for. You know, the wealth from that is going through a tiny number of people. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. And we know that if we get together and work together, we can change that. You see, we've got a world where we're set up to be separate. You know, look at Brexit. Look at Trump and his immigration bans. Look at small businesses not being helped to get together with other small businesses. Yes, they'll help individual small businesses, but there's no real help for others, for small businesses to work together on stuff. Because they don't want us working together. I know this sounds a little bit conspiracy theory-ish, but actually it makes sense that if they can keep us separate. You ever seen that cartoon where you've got the guy standing, preaching to the crowd, or telling the crowd what to do, and the whole crowd is stood there and he's out over the cliff? And you suddenly realise that if that crowd steps off, he's got no support at all. And at the moment, we're being suckered into standing on that board and supporting people who haven't really got our interests at heart. So maybe it's time for us to just all together take that step back, choose to create a different reality, one that works for us. And if we've got this damaged world, and we've got technology coming that accelerates everything, that can go one of two ways, can't it? This completely messed up world can become even more messed up, much more powerfully. Or we can take the nanotechnology, we can take the robotics. They've got a robot in Japan that is a dead ringer for Scarlett Johansson, who independently handles the check-in for a hotel over there. It's just like dealing with a Scarlett Johansson. Things like that coming, driverless cars. They're here. And I reckon it's not going to be long before Uber disappears and Uber Auto comes in. We don't order a taxi. Well, we don't order a taxi driver. We order just a taxi cab. It's not going to have a driver. And all of these changes can work for us or they can work against us. What we want to do is make sure they work for us, for everyone in the world. I mean, it's crazy stuff. We can print blood. How's that going to change the world? But if we don't get it right, the control of all of that power can end up somewhere we don't want it to be. Imagine Mr. Trump in charge of printing the world's blood supplies. Doesn't sound like the sort of world I'm keen to be part of creating. This video, I think, sums it up very well. You might have seen the Imaginal Cells video of Bruce Lipton. If you haven't seen it, you're about to.
The wonderful part about nature being fractal is that we can use patterns in nature to understand other patterns that exist, because patterns repeat themselves. So now if you want to look at a pattern that's playing itself out on this planet right now that will give us insight about what is going on. So I say, look inside a caterpillar that's growing. And a caterpillar represents, let's say, 7 billion cells living under the same skin. Each cell is a citizen. And guess what? They're like people like us. They're working every day. Cells in the digestive system are taking the food and breaking it down and making products out of it. Some cells are the motility cells. Those are the cells that move the caterpillar around. Structures of like our highways with trucks and vehicles carrying materials all over the place, something like that. Cells of the immune system are taking their job of protecting the system. Respiration systems making sure fresh oxygen is being delivered. So all the cells have jobs. The caterpillar's growing. If you were in there and a reporter, you look around and the economy is going great guns. It's growing every day. Everybody's working, full employment. This is the kind of thing we love to see. How much are we growing every day? Some percent every day. And then the caterpillar reaches a certain stage of growth. And at that stage of growth, it just stops eating. It can't take it anymore at this point. It's reaching a maximum size. Then if you're a cell inside that community, imagine what would happen. That you're on the job and all of a sudden there's less food coming in and you're a digestive cell. You say, oh man, the work is slowing down here. The factory is slowing down. And all of a sudden it gets to such a low level that many cells get laid off of the job. Now their cell's not working working. Why? There's not enough food coming in to keep them all working. And as the food shuts down, then the other jobs are affected, because if there's no food, then there's no energy, and all the systems start laying off cells. And pretty soon, there's massive chaos under the skin of a caterpillar. Why? The systems start growing, the cells are out of work, nothing is evolving, and the thing is falling apart. If you were a cell in that caterpillar body at that time, you would look around and say, oh my God, our world is coming to an end. And yet, in the midst of those billions of cells,
in among them are other cells that are genetically identical to them, no different. But they think differently, they respond to the signals differently.
these cells have the interesting name called imaginal cells. And these imaginal cells come up with new visions. And what happens is, in the midst of all this chaos, when all the other cells are running around thinking the end of the world is coming, the new imaginal cells are laying out new ideas, new visions, a new plan, a new scheme, a new way of life. And around these ideas, the cells reorganize, and they start to create new massive organizations to create something much more fabulous than the previous system. A system that is much more sustainable, a system with a higher level of evolution. And that system they're constructing called the butterfly. So there's a transition from an old world of caterpillar with an old belief system and an old way of life that was no longer sustainable.
And therefore, you have two choices in this world right now. You can retain your caterpillar status and go, oh my God, the sky is falling, and be in fear. Or you can say, the caterpillar is going, I want to build a butterfly. Why? Because if I become active and positive in the process of building a butterfly, I'm engaged, I'm working, we're creating the future. If I sit there and bemoan the loss of the caterpillar, then I'm making myself sick and everything around me. Why? I'm not contributing to our evolution. And so, where are we? We're at the demise of the caterpillar stage of civilization and the rise of the butterfly.
The wonderful part about nature being fractal is...
So, what did that make you think? Where are you in that? You're a caterpillar? Do you fancy becoming a butterfly? How does that make you feel, watching that video?
There's always people on the edge. That historically there's always people on the edge who want to do something different. And there's always the movers and the shakers, the people who want to stand up in the crowd. So it's not anything new. Such, it's just evolving. No. It's evolving with what's happening.
The world is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
I think what we're in at the moment is a situation where the world is evolving at a greater pace than it has done before, helped by technology.
Not sure.
Or indeed, yes.
It's not happening.
It's helping the world to change fast. It's not necessarily helping the world to evolve. Good point. Yeah. I've actually got a theory that the incidence of technology has held us back from developing our full faculties. I think, the availability of telephones has stopped us fully developing telepathic powers and things like that, or certainly our empathy and intuition. Computers have robbed us of a lot of intuition. So maybe the world does need to go through that riot phase.
It's sort of fourth, isn't it? So you've got natural life and you've got artificial life.
Yeah.
And they're now going to do that.
And what if they don't have to? What if we can both evolve and harness the power of technology? That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Get technology working for us instead of being trapped by it. All these labour-saving devices that somehow leave us with less time.
Don't.
But it's always in the social media stuff out there. Talking about this morning. I went to a meeting, there's 700 people in a group.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise in there, and then you get the meet up and there's 14, 15 people, but that's where the depth is, that's where the connection is.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything really happens around the social side of media such, but it's the connection still really important.
True.
Just the noise, yeah.
Yeah, there is an awful lot of noise being facilitated by the new technologies. That isn't,
correct.
a lot of heat, not a lot of light.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not exactly enlightened. But perhaps we could be. Because obviously we see the solution being in collaboration, which is a natural process. We are actually, in nature, collaboration happens all the time. In human society, collaboration happens all the time. It's just that we've forgotten how to collaborate effectively. We've forgotten the importance of collaborating effectively. What BeCollaboration is about is getting back to you as something special, you and your genius, and then combining that with other genius to come up with something really different and special. It's about, well, we talk a lot about creating possibility. What's that?
Our friend David,
Yeah.
he enjoyed this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You bring him along next time.
Yeah.
Love to meet him, great. But it's about taking the cynicism out of things and learning and relearning to be properly supportive. Because, what we can achieve on our own pales into insignificance. What we can actually achieve together. That Tower of People is a perfect example of that. But that is what it's really like in the world when we're working with other people. Dave will tell you that he's doing some pretty amazing stuff in education because he's been able to collaborate with other people to make it really happen. So it's about making a difference. We've got so many entrepreneurs out there now. It's become almost the norm that you do your own thing. Let's get them working together rather than buying into that old scarcity paradigm. And get people really challenging the way the world's supposed to be. One of the things we say a lot in BeCollaboration is that context is key. Now let me just explain what we mean by context is key. It's about who you are rather than what you do. You see, in the modern world, we have this idea that when I have enough money, then I can do all the marketing I need to do, or when I have a load of friends, then I can do going out and being sociable, and then I'll be successful, rich, happy. So it goes that way. We feel we have to have it in order to do it, and then we can be it. Which we all know is, cover your ears, Tyler, ask about face. It's completely backwards. When you are being the sort of person who is successful, then you will be doing the stuff that is required to have success. When you're being happy, then you'll be doing and going out and being sociable and a nice person to be around, and then you'll have a fantastic social life and loads of friends. It doesn't work the other way around. And we all intuitively know that, but we forget, because the world's set up to make us forget. We see BeCollaboration as the place where you can come and start by being and figure out from there what you get to do. And then you can have that world, that enlightened world that we were talking about, where technology serves humanity rather than the other way around.
You just realise you don't need any of it.
Or realise you don't need technology at all. Yes, you can just. Or we can all go off to India and play on match rams and smoke dope. Not that anyone in the room's done that.
No.
Oh, recently.
We basically take the view there is more than enough. We'll know that there's more than enough in the world. There is no need for there to be any poverty in the world. There's no need for there to be any lack for anybody in the world. if we just start working together on stuff and look at the world in a different way. So what is BeCollaboration? Well, it starts with community, but it's more than just a community. Within and from the community, we collaborate together to create stuff. It's a place to come and meet these like-minded people who are all out to make a difference. And that's the important bit, that people are coming to make a difference. Right now we're going around the south, but the intention is that we're going to grow further out, eventually becoming global. Isn't that right, okay?
Yes.
We'll go for national first, but then global. But who knows? If someone wants to start something up in Holland or California, then we'll love them to do it. And yeah, the obvious way that we work together, co-working. Getting people onto your team to help you to deliver the projects you're already working on. And maybe deliver something a bit bigger, maybe deliver something with a wider scope. Another very important part is the personal and spiritual development. Developing you as a being, not just coming to do business. We are definitely not where you come to swap business cards. I usually forget. But that's fine, because I can find people on the Facebook group. And the final bit is the contribution part. It's where you actually get involved in projects that are so big they're making a difference to the world, not just to your little sphere of it. You know, and Dave is starting to do that in education. It's quite big and scary, isn't it, Dave? Enormous. So that's what BeCollaboration is all about. It's about the community, it's about the collaboration, it's about those four main outcomes of collaboration. Co-working on projects, developing yourself as an individual, developing yourself as a being, and being more able to contribute to the world. And our strength, well, it comes from all of these things. Understanding the context, knowing who it is you want to show up as. Having that community of like-minded, or if you like, like-hearted people around you. A culture which is constantly growing, constantly forming and reforming itself, because it comes from the members. The culture is not something that was created and that's it, that's the BeCollaboration culture. It's changing all the time, but it's coming from the members. Living the core values, and later in the main meeting, every month we review one of the core values, and we have some fascinating discussions about what that core value means to the people in the room. And it gets really quite interesting when the different groups have the conversation about the same core value and you're getting different finesses about it coming out. So it's not like, this is what, well, today is fun, isn't it, Dave?
It will be fun.
It will be fun. It will be fun. It will be fun. But so today's is fun, so it's not, this is what fun means from the BeCollaboration perspective. We get to decide amongst ourselves what fun means. And it may not be exactly what we think it is. There's that trust equity. In the end, for collaboration to work, there has to be trust. And people who sign up to say, I would like to be part of BeCollaboration, you can trust them to behave in a particular way. You can trust them to live those core values. And we're working on a thing called systemic win, which is basically a win for the individual, a win for the group, win for society, and a win for the planet. Yeah, we've got those right. So it's a quadruple win, not just a triple win, but a quadruple win.
There was originally, because we're reviewing some of this at the moment, but the win for, like, if we created products together and we delivered something.
Yeah.
If we delivered something in collaboration, it wouldn't be your products or mine, or say Andrew, because it'll be a like a hybrid type of thing we never would have created on our own.
Yeah.
So an extra added value for any clients or organisations we serve. So there was that kind of that's the social society part. And then that kind of a little nod to commercial opportunities as well.
It's more than a nod to commercial opportunities. There have been some quite serious commercial opportunities come out. Some that have happened, and some for whatever reason. Like the big nationwide one that HR man, Alistair was working on. The one that in the end they decided it was too big and scary for them. The end
timing's really important.
Yeah. So what we're working on is making sure that that trust is always there. So, why now? Well, there's that entrepreneurial revolution going on. There's so many of us out there doing our own thing and really needing that additional level of support that, we're not talking about business link type level of support, here's how you operate within the existing paradigm. We're talking about how do we operate in the new paradigm that we're all creating together. Now we make that paradigm the one we want, not just a new version of the old way of working. We've got technology there as the enabler, and we need it to be an enabler for the growth of humankind that we want, not something that restricts, and certainly not something that empowers further scarcity thinking. There's massive entrepreneurialism out there, even within large organisations. There's a lot more entrepreneurial behaviour going on. Let's face it, we all have some need for significance, to be remarkable in the world, to make a difference. And the challenge of our time is to stay ahead of that curve and not be a follower scuttling desperately after it. To be one of those who's making the difference. So it is about creating a community that can support the whole community and the individuals within it to be all that they can be. One of our collaborators described it really, really well. So the reason why she comes to BeCollaboration is, how did she actually describe it, Dave? To be the best me she can be. Yeah. I just thought that was a lovely way to put it. So, the proposition. Quickly run through this because that's not what this is all about. But if you want to become a collaborator, it's £50 a month, £150 joining fee. You get regular meetings every month. There are currently 4 here, London, Hertford and Chelmsford. And there are people who go to all of those. I've done all 4 in a month. It's great fun. And actually, you know what? I was going to say I didn't get to do much work that month. That's partly true. But the work I did do was so much more enjoyable and effective. So there's a lot to be said for just being. You get a full-on orientation on exactly how to use BeCollaboration effectively, and that helps BeCollaboration also to understand who you are and who you want to show up as. You can go and then create your own projects.
Can I just say about the top line of figures?
Top line, yeah.
We've restructured sort of our consulting operation, so basically, long story, who is that registered? Everyone registered? So we've deregistered the membership side of the organisation.
Oh, nice one.
Did you know about this? Sorry,
no, it didn't
be announced. So it's basically less than that now. So it's those fees.
It's those figures, no VAT paid.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So if you're not VAT registered, that's useful.
If you are, it
doesn't make any difference anyway. You just don't pay. Where do we get to? Yeah, so you get to set up your own projects. I'm kind of in the process of playing around with one at the moment, which I'm not quite ready to talk about in the collaborator updates. You get listed on the website, you get to be part of the social media community, and it's quite an active community. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff going on there, conversations going on there, and obviously people sharing their stuff, sharing what they're up to. There is ongoing stuff going on all the time. Every meeting, in its know and be known or in its genius slot, brings you some new view of life, some new thing that you can bring to yourself with your business. And yeah, a lot of the collaborators offer discounts to fellow collaborators, but more importantly than anything else, you get to be in business with people you can be friends with and really feel properly supported by. It's learn, develop, share, all of that all on the bottom there. But the most important one is have fun. Being part of this community. I love this quote here from Margaret Mead. You know that one? Never doubt a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Because actually it's the only thing that ever has. It all starts somewhere. Well, we see BeCollaboration as one of the places that this can start, maybe the place. It's about that heart conversation. It's about starting from love. It's about getting together with the rest of your species and being the best that you can be, helping the species to be the best that it can be. It's about creating a better future, whatever a better future means to you. It's about bringing you, the whole of you and the real you. One thing you don't see very much of in BeCollaboration is people pretending to be something they're not. There's a lot of very genuine conversations go on, sometimes very genuine. That be, do and have thing we were talking about. Well, what do you love doing the most? What means the most to you? You can do that with us. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as in the world? Use BeCollaboration as a way to create something that actually matters to you. Become known for that in this community. You know, I'm known for Joyful Genius in this community. Dave's known for incredible career stuff and the education stuff in this community. Rihanna's going to tell us in a minute what she wants to be known for in this community. So back to that vision statement. Does that read differently to you now? Now you've heard a little bit more about where it all came from and what it's all about. We bring together talent, technical ability, visionary thinking to empower individuals and organisations. And we're passionate about impacting human performance, and we do it with velocity, compassion, humour and love. Does that read a bit differently second time through? And in Surrey we have our own. Each group also has its own version of the vision statement. And Surrey, we recognise and promote the potential that every human being has to define and create their own success and to be the best that they can be. Our passion is to enable human beings to discover these skills that unlock and fulfil this potential for themselves. So that's Surrey's particular take on that. And you know what? We have fun. I get together with again, I think it's like-hearted people. And the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. Now, we are having a good time. Yep, we've got about 10 minutes before the start of the main meeting. I'll happily take questions now, or teas and coffees have arrived, so we can grab our teas and coffees and you can ask the collaborators. Collaborators have got the black badges, guests have got the blue badges. In case you wondered why there's a different colour. That's for your easy identification. It's not because we wanted to separate you. So,
for your competition.
I should have known. If anybody was going to challenge anything, it would be us. Seriously, if you've got any immediate questions, ask them now, or if not, grab your coffee, and we'll start the main meeting at 3 o'clock.
Well, that's a wonderful introduction because you left everyone speechless. Well done.
Yeah. No? Teas? Coffee? Whatever you ordered? Yeah, biscuits. There are indeed biscuits. The usual question they ask is, has it all worked? Because even after that, it's not always how it works.
No, so it's come through.
Here at Surrey, it's a relatively small area. Usually, well, we go to level 6, we go to level 8. What we use
Yeah.